think I'm going to go ahead and get started and just kind of keep an eye on the waiting room and let people in as we go. So, I just kind of wanted to start off today by kind of just giving you a little intro to Reviewer and why we're hosting this webinar. So here at Reviewer, we are actually an applicant management platform, meaning if you are accepting any type of application for any kind of program, we can run it. So we run things like grants, scholarships, award programs, different contests, things like that. And over the years, we have ran thousands of different award programs. So we're kind of here to give some of the insights that we've seen in all the years that we have been running these and kind of offering some tips for you guys. And we have built a framework that we see working well for a lot of our clients and people in the award space. So that is kind of the basis of our webinar today. A little intro to me. My name is Callie, and I run all of our marketing efforts here at Reviewer. So my role in this webinar is to kind of give you guys some insights on what we've been seeing in the awards space in general. And then I have Hallie here from my team, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, I'm Hallie. I am a member of the customer success team here at Reviewer. So my day-to-day is working with clients one-on-one from the time they're onboarded and welcomed into Reviewer, from when they're building out their submission form, accepting submissions, done accepting submissions, evaluation process, and then closing their event and getting started for the next year. So I'm really with them for their everyday questions, getting them, helping them along while they're running their event. And so yeah, I just kind of have the insight of working with our clients, what they're seeing, what they came to us from before, and then kind of what we do to help combat some of the issues that they've experienced in the past.
Awesome. So we are just going to get right into it. And we are actually going to start with just a little bit of what we are currently seeing in the award space. So, somewhat of kind of a reality check in. So a lot of what we are seeing is many award programs are just a one night kind of annual event. Lots of low participation in some of these nomination processes, lots of manual spreadsheets, email chains, things like that. And then some issues when it also comes to judging. So, that being said, we have kind of built out a five-part framework to kind of help you run some of these award programs. So, the first step in our framework is just kind of defining your purpose, your program, and what resources you have. Two is designing the experience from the nomination perspective and also the application. And then simplifying the operations, how to run them more efficiently, evaluate fairly, that comes to your judging and those processes. And then really being able to take this program beyond just this program and other things that it can affect, and kind of make it more of a year-round thing.
Yeah, so with that, the first thing we're going to talk about is defining the purpose. So our recognition with strategic intent. So, kind of going back off of what Callie said, so there's an old way and then a modern way. And so, old way is it's kind of looking at a perspective. So, the old way is going about your recognitions of we've always done an annual award banquet. We've done it for the last 50 years. We're going to continue to do it for the 50 years. Okay. That's going to be something that your employees' spouses, they're going to kind of dread that. So, if we look at it from a different approach, again, perspective, recognition as strategic engagement towards that reinforces the mission. So purpose driven and values aligned. So making it something that we can really kind of look forward to, and just a different expected perspective again is going to freshen up everyone's mind on it. So some key actions with that is when you have these award ceremonies, these awards that you're running, before you even get to the ceremonies, you want to make sure that you have award categories that align to your values. So any goals you have, any journeys that you want to recognize, so anything that kind of pertains to your end goal and what you want to get out of this. Kind of going back to that one, deciding what those goals might be. It's kind of a time to t step back and look at your employers, look at those who are going to be nominated or applying for these awards, and what kind of categories best resonate with them. What is going to give you the broadest spectrum of categories? Because again, you're going to be having everyone come to these banquets that they should be excited for if we kind of look at it in the right perspective. So making sure that there's something that everyone can kind of look forward to and have an opportunity to apply for is really important. That kind of goes in the same track of highlighting your impact, innovation, community contribution. Again, just kind of a different way to categorize while making it inclusive to everyone, clarifying what good looks like and why it matters to the profession. So good. Another thing of just kind of highlighting on that perspective. So what do you want people to see in your company and then kind of run your award platform based on that. Moving beyond tenure and popularity to celebrate diverse achievements. So again, stepping away from the we've done it this way, we have these 10 years, which we should celebrate those, but at the same time, looking beyond that and more awards and recognitions than just the basic tenure. And then kind of initiating using those who have received awards and using those as people to speak and to kind of highlight at your events. So kind of looping everyone in kind of a full circle moment where people who maybe have received awards in the past get to come and speak. And again, that's just more exciting and something more for your people to look forward to. With that, I am going to send it back to Callie.
All right, so we are going to move on to the second piece of our framework, which is the design experience. And this is mostly focused on your nominators and your nominees. So, the kind of old way of doing things, or things that we see when people are coming into review, or how they're previously running their programs, is lots of things like PDFs, email submissions, confusing eligibility. Typically, we see a lot of spreadsheets, things getting emailed back and forth, stuff like that. In the modern way that we are looking to lean towards, is more mobile friendly, more all in one place, and more storytelling based nominations. So, some of the things that go along with that is just replacing your long forms, more guided prompts to kind of help them through those different forms they're filling out, because we know sometimes they can be confusing and hectic, and kind of bringing people along. And then also a dual approach, enabling possible self nominations and peer nominations. So this is just a different way of doing nominations that can get more people involved. Also, smart automation, which is checking eligibility before these people actually submit these nominations or spend the time filling out the application. So we have some features here at Reviewer that kind of help with that, which Hallie will show you in a second. And then things like deadline reminders, sending reminders to maybe nominees or applicants who haven't finished yet. And then humanizing recognition, which is just using visuals and storytelling to kind of celebrate these achievements.
I'll steal that screen from you, Callie, and then I'll kind of walk everyone through what that nomination process looks like. Okay, so hopping over here, before we get into the actual nomination process, so obviously you are going to have to direct your applicants to your microsite. So whether that be in your website, in a mass email throughout your company, whatever that might be, you can share it out. These clients of ours have posted on their website. They will create an account. So this is kind of going back to the mobile aspect of our applications. So we kind of highlighted the fact that Reviewer right now is a much easier and much more efficient way to collect submissions rather than spreadsheets, emails, files, however that might be, because we're creating accounts for our applicants. So by creating that account, we have all of their information kind of locked into one place. So creating an account is super important, especially from year to year, because then that information is going to save for them. So they won't have to create a new account. They can just log back in every time they want to apply or nominate, whatever that may be for your event or for other events. So Right here, we have an example of the nominator. So the nominator is filling out their personal information, keeping it short and sweet, making sure that we're just kind of getting the baseline information that you need for your award process. And then over here, we have their information for who they're nominating. So kind of that personal contact information. And then getting a little bit deeper into it, we're going to have them list top 2 to 3 accomplishments, reasons your nominee, whatever it might be, how whatever you really want to grasp from the nominator of why they are nominating this person. And then from there, they'll click submit, and then the nominee will get their invitation to accept and fill out their portion of the application. So the thing that's really neat about this is that when you have your not your typical nominator nominee experience, it's going to be a kind of a guessing game because no matter how well you know someone, there's probably going to be questions that are asked that you maybe don't know the most um, current, correct answer to, or there's just some personal information that you don't quite know. And so giving those applicants, those nominees, an opportunity to come and fill out the bulk of the form on behalf of themselves is a really great opportunity so that they can really showcase the true them. And then you still have that nominator side of things where you see why they're being nominated. So over here, we see what they've been nominated for. We let that nominee know. And then this is going to be the eligibility check. So Callie kind of mentioned that we want to make sure that we're not only wasting our own time by accepting submissions by those who are not eligible, but then another thing to take account for is wasting the time of those who may think they're eligible for award, apply for the whole thing, and then come to find out they're not eligible. So just kind of breaking that up so that you're saving everyone some time and some frustration. So a couple basic questions on this one. It's a super simple eligibility. They have to turn 30 before May 31st, 2024, and they have not ever applied for 30 under 30 in the past. Those are the 2 requirements. If those were not marked correctly, they'll be taken to an exit page where they are informed that they are not eligible. Please apply again when you are eligible. So here's kind of that bulk of the form where they get to fill out their portion, what they need to showcase and submit for their nominee application. They're able to upload files super securely. Everything is secure here at Reviewer. And then again, just give them the opportunity to kind of dive in and accept it. Another thing that's super unique that might pertain to your award process, might not, is letter of recommendation. So what we can do here at Reviewer is we can actually invite recommenders, outside people into the form to submit letter of recommendations, which just kind of saves the process of maybe a letter of reference was not submitted truly by this person, something was made up, which shouldn't happen, but sometimes it does. So this is just a nice way to protect it. They're invited and are able to come in and fill out a reference. Another thing unique about Reviewer that we do offer is that instead of just uploading an essay, having them enter an essay, we do kind of a ranking system if you guys are open to it. Just in case if I am a very poor writer and Callie is a really good writer, obviously, the person who has a very good writer as a recommender is going to look better. So having an opportunity to kind of get a baseline of how they would rate or recommend certain aspects of the nominees, um, personality traits, whatever it might be, is a really great opportunity to try and kind of even the playing field. Um, yeah, and then kind of just keeping on going through the form. From there, Callie, I think we're ready to move on to our next slide.
Perfect. All right, so before I get going in this slide, I just wanted to mention that our chat is actually open. So if you guys have any questions as we're going along, or as Hallie is showing you anything, feel free to drop it in the chat. And then at the end, we will open it up for Q&A to kind of give you guys a chance to ask some of your questions. So that being
Perfect. So
said,
the third framework we are going to cover, sorry, Callie,
oh,
is
you're good.
simplifying operations. So running the program, not chasing it. So we want to be caught up. We don't want to be having to race through running, chasing our program. We want to be in control. And so with that, we have a few things that can kind of help that. Looks like we have a chat before we move forward in this slide is good writers versus bad. I suspect everyone's using AI to write now. Yep, that's a fair assumption. And then we obviously hope that for a letter of recommendation, that they wouldn't, that that's something that would be more personable. But in the future, we are going to have a way to detect AI. So that is something to look out for also. And then one more comment we have, it says, I'm guessing you can widen or narrow the specifications for the nominator and nominee. Um, yes, so if you want it to be, um, I guess. Yes, so for the questions, that makes sense. Sorry, I was just trying to make sure I fully understood your question. So, yep, the questions for both your nominator nominee, those are going to be technically two separate forms, just kind of linked together as one event. Um, and so you're totally able to customize and specify any questions directly towards nominator nominee because they're going to be seeing two different forms, if that kind of makes sense. With that, I'll kind of go over some operational excellence. So again, let's highlight the old way of doing things. So your manual spreadsheets, endless email chains, file chaos. Something with that, again, to note is that that's not secure. So sending maybe important bank files or social security through emails, that's not safe. We all know that we have phish and hacking all over in our emails. And so obviously that's not a super secure way to kind of go about things. So something here, reviewer is centralized workflows that eliminate busy work and reduce errors. So again, kind of focusing on the fact that all aspects of your form is going to be in one place. So whether that's your submission process, anything that you are organizing as an admin for your event, and then also for your review process, everything in one place. With that, what a dedicated platform streamline. So just to kind of walk briefly through each of these things, centralized submission management. So again, everything in one place. Automated eligibility verification and validation. We kind of talked on last slide with that age requirement and then if they've applied in years past or not. And then obviously if you have specific eligibility to be able to apply for any of your awards, that's something else that you would add in there. Intelligent reviewer assignment and workload balancing. We'll talk about that in the next couple of slides. So making sure that our reviewers are assigned a balanced amount. Going down the list, we have secure document storage and version control. So just again, with that security aspect of things, if you have secure files that shouldn't be out roaming around in emails, again, all in one place, keeping things organized. Automated deadline reminders and notifications. Again, with that organization, we don't want to be chasing our event, we want to be running it. So with things being automated, that makes your guys' life as admin a lot easier. Built-in communication workflows, kind of same thing. If you have to send any follow-up emails, any additional emails throughout your event, built-in communication, all in one place, all in reviewer from reviewer, keeping you organized. Real-time status tracking and dashboard. So you guys are going to have an admin dashboard that is going to show you a real-time status tracking of all your submissions, what status they're in. If you have a supplemental event, so your nominee application to your nomination application, you'll be able to see all of that right there. Standardized scoring rubrics and evaluation forms, which we'll kind of hone in on a little bit more in a following slide, but just kind of making sure, again, even playing field for those awardees who are being scored. Automated conflict of interest detection, so making sure that we don't assign any reviewers to someone they might have a conflict of interest with. Payment processing for submission fees, we do allow PayPal integration through reviewers. So if you guys do take fees for your submissions, we can do that. Custom reporting and analytics on demand, we can do custom reports for you guys as well. And then mobile-friendly interfaces for judges on the go. Most of the time, your judges are going to be volunteers, and so making sure that it is a super friendly interface, whether that be just for ease of use and also the mobile aspect, having it be on a phone, which we all have and are on quite frequently. So those are just some of the things that we are able to kind of streamline and make your guys' life as admin easier because when your life is easier, the applicant's life is easier. And the end goal is making sure that we keep that applicant happy so our numbers can continue to rise.
All right, moving along into number four, we have evaluate fairness. So this is the judging the judging side of things when it comes to your applications. So the kind of old way of doing it and things that we have seen is kind of subjective scoring, inconsistent rubrics, and possibly potential bias from judges. And the modern way that we want to lean towards we want it to be structured and we want it to be fair for everybody that's involved. And we want the most simplest, streamlined process for your judges that are donating their time for this. So, some of reviewers' judging and scoring features, we have split screen review, where judges can actually view their scorecard and the submissions right next to each other. They can open any PDFs, anything that was uploaded right there in reviewers, so they aren't having to send things back and forth and pull things up. Another big important one here at Reviewer is redaction of data. So that is actually blinding some of the information. So if you are assigning people judges and there is information that you don't want your judges to know, maybe personal information or things you want left out, you can actually cover that for them so they won't be able to see that. And then we also have just a couple of different features to streamline your judging process. So I'm going to let Holly show you some of those.
Yes. Okay, so first thing that I'm kind of going to talk about is the admin side of things. So obviously you guys as admin are going to be kind of setting up that review process. So a few kind of unique things to reviewer is the first thing is going to be the group section. So what we can do is we can auto group based on your award. So say this event, for example, has about 6 different awards that they're running. And so when they click submit based on what award they're applying for or awards, if they're able to apply for more than one, they're going to be dropped into these buckets, these groups. And so based on these groups, we are going to have to assign our submissions are already going to be assigned on submission. And then our judges, we are going to assign to their group. So whether that be you have a certain number of judges for each individual group or all judges are members of all groups, however you guys kind of want to go about that is unique to your organization and great however you want to do it. But you are able to kind of see that all here on that groups and divisions page. If we click into it, we can kind of talk about the balancing of setting up assignments for your judges. So it's no lie that we don't want to manually go and try and randomize. I don't want to try and randomize 6 submissions between 5 judges and try and make sure that they all have somewhat of the same amount, but not all the same submissions. Just trying to kind of even that playing field, not only for our submissions, but also for our judges. We don't want to wear those judges out. And so what we can do is we can auto assign reviewers. So we can make the system do that for us. We can set a maximum and minimum numbers of reviewers a submission should have. And then if we auto assign that, that's going to set that up manually or automatically for you. You can select the reviewers you want to be included in that. And then, yeah, you are good to go. Your evaluation assignments are going to be kind of set up that way. Next thing that I kind of want to show you, once we obviously set those workflows up for you, let's see what the actual judges experience is like, because kind of what I touched on earlier is keeping our judges happy. They're probably going to be volunteers, whether that is volunteers within your organization, other board members, staff members that are going to be donating their time to you to kind of help pick out who's winning these awards, or maybe it's someone in the community. Whatever it is, you probably they're donating their time to you. So making it the best experience for them, easy, whatever that might be. We just want to keep them happy. We want to keep them coming back to volunteer for us. So first thing to kind of show you is that, I'm logged in as a judge right now. And this is kind of what my judge portal looks like. I can see all my submissions. And then right here, we can see that an example of redacting that data. So if you have an event where you don't want your judges to see the names of those receiving awards, so maybe if you have an internal evaluation of who should get an award within your organization, redacting names is probably going to be pretty important for you guys. So having that feature, if we want to go over here and view, we can kind of see a side-by-side view of what your judges are going to see. Over here on the left, we have the submission form in its entirety. Again, all in one place, side-by-side view. So then you can kind of go over back and forth of what you are evaluating. So something that we kind of try to like to do is we like to avoid the numbers just because typically my version of a seven is probably going to be different than Callie's version of a seven. So these are more based on their application process. So questions that can't be altered based on how well they're answering. It's kind of a straightforward question. And so what we like to do typically is set up emotional responses. So instead of doing a 1 through 10 rating, we want to do a um, is far below expectations and then it exceeds expectations with five kind of bullets in between. Again, just to kind of try and even that playing field and make sure that everyone has the best opportunity to get a fair judgment as possible. Over here, we are in the form tab. So we also have an attachments tab. So you are able to select attachments and view them in that regular form view, but we also can view all in the attachments page, depending on how your judge likes to go through that process. There also is a notes page. So this is going to allow your review teams to share notes and log internal notes to themselves. This is not viewable to the submitter. Comments are viewable to the submitter, which is helpful. If you want to allow that, we can also turn that off. Same with notes. And then we have the supplemental page, which for you nominee nominators, was where you'll be able to see, your judges will be able to see that nominee application. Down here, we have a total points, so we can sum up the total points received by everyone. And then last thing that I want to touch on, flipping back over to that admin side, is looking at the normalization report. So what this does is this is going to make a report so that, again, keeping things fair. So if I am a really tough scorer and Callie is a really easy scorer, this is going to kind of try and even out our scores by averaging them out. So a quick little rundown over here on the left, we have all of the submissions, and then up here on the right, we have all of our judges listed. And then the cells that meet up between the two are the scores that each judge gave each submission. If we move on over here, we're going to have an average of all of the scores that these judges gave to these submissions. And then at the bottom, that green little line right there is an average of all of those numbers. Taking a look, we see Judge Judy gave a really tough average score of 23.85, but Tony gave a great average score of 34.125. Obviously, I'm going to want Tony to be my judge because he's given out some pretty amazing scores. So from there, what we do is all of these average scores are going to be turned into a 1. So from there, anything above that 34 for Tony is going to be set at above a 1. So a 1.1, a 1.5, and then anything below is going to be set at a 0.9 below, whatever that might be. Over there, then we can again kind of average out. So then we can see who truly did get that best score over there on the left. Perfect. And then from there, we have our fifth framework. And this is kind of the tell the story side of things. So having that opportunity to not only we have had our awards, we've kind of had the opportunity to showcase that award ceremony, but how can we actually showcase that and implement it more than one time at your annual awards ceremony? Callie, I should have kept my screen share. I apologize. Oh, just kidding. We'll go forward in the slides before then. Perfect. Okay, so Old Way, focusing on that again is kind of what I just mentioned, your one night awards banquet and forgotten. Modern Way is continuing to recognize and amplifying those member stories year round. So digital showcases, which I'll show you in a minute, how we can kind of set that up here. Reviewer marketing assets. So turn those nominations that were used by those nominees who received the award, turn it into social media posts, put it in your newsletter, content within the organization. That's going to kind of amp up all of your employers want to nominate others and maybe nominate themselves. Recognize everyone. So whether that is a finalist, or those who maybe just were nominated who didn't receive award, and then your judges, so those who are volunteering. Spread it farther than just those who receive the awards, because again, that's going to get people more excited about the general idea of you running these awards through your company. And then multimedia stories, so video spotlights, podcasts, virtual galleries, kind of expanding that reach so that again we can showcase our awards to our employees. So here's kind of the showcase page I was talking about. So you can see here we have a showcase of a bunch of the applicants. So these are going to be the finalists. Again, this can kind of be what you'd like it to be as you set it up. If we click into one, we can choose over here on the right what questions we show from your submission form. So obviously kind of just a little bit to get to know them. And then that's going to show there. You can kind of specify. We can also do a gallery of any media that you want to put over there that is going to help showcase those whether it be nominees, awardees, whatever it might be over there on the left. And then we have a voting. So what even if you so voting is not a way to replace your actual award process, but it's a way to engage those who maybe weren't nominated or those in the community. Again, a great way to bring attention to your company, your association, whatever it might be, to showcase your awards. And then I'm going to give that back to you, Kelly.
All right. And now we are going to move into kind of our member engagement flywheel. So this is kind of like bringing it all home and into a circle. So we have kind of some ideas, initiatives, kind of just things to throw out for maybe after your programs, just trying to really increase these programs and really really push their impact, because if you're going to take the time to run these programs, we really want them to be impactful to whatever demographic or community or your members that you're trying to reach. So our first kind of initiative that we have seen done is just professional development. So maybe running some award winners, leading things like webinars or training sessions, or maybe some educational videos, really using these people and showcasing them for the rest of your memberships. We also have seen mentor programs. So that is in like peer nominations, stuff like that, being able to mentor other people in your membership. We also have conference content, which is honoring these people, having them be things, having them attend your different conferences you may have, keynote speakers, panelists, things like that. And then overall, just content creation that can be anything from like podcasts, social media, videos, blogs, YouTube videos, all of that sort of stuff we see a lot of different associations kind of leaning towards now. And then building community, especially alumni associations, kind of building your network, getting them engaged with one another, kind of lining up some of maybe your award winners with some of your new alumni members. Things like that. And then future judging, possibly taking some of your award recipients and then becoming judges next year, which we think is a really fun idea. So now we kind of want to open up the floor to some of your guys' questions. We can go back in the slides if you want. Hallie can pull back up her walkthroughs of reviewer if that's something what you want to see, but the floor is just kind of open for questions if you want to drop them in the chat.
So difference between groups and divisions. So groups is going to be the more commonly used way to kind of separate, bucket out, kind of sort out our submissions. So groups are utilized during the evaluation process. That's how we make assignments is within the groups page. Divisions is kind of a more specific version. So an event that I can think of, they do groups for there is a sciences and humanities group option, but then within each of those science and humanities, there's about 8 different selections that is going to specify into their category of science and humanities. So then from there, we auto divide. So same how on Submit, we can put them into a group, we can also auto divide them. So after we set up that visibility to where after they click science and humanities, then those specifications within those 2 categories open up to where they have to get even further specific as to maybe what they're studying in that either science or humanities category. And then we auto divide there. So then where that auto dividing and the divisions kind of comes into play is for sorting out while you're making evaluations, or if that's something that is important to what scholarship award, whatever that might be. So divisions really are just a more specific way. Groups are broad, and during the evaluation process, we have to have at least one group to set that up. So whether that is one big general group or multiple specific award categories, however you want to set that up, we're going to have a group. Divisions is just kind of that next step as to specifying down that sorting of those submissions. If that makes sense. Perfect.
I saw that David left a comment about some of the follow-up ideas. Looks like you're doing traditional, old school, not really doing anything afterwards. And that is something that we really wanted to stress in this webinar, is just making this kind of a year-round thing and using these awards to kind of boost your impact and possibly get other people involved, especially when your programs are ran every year and you see all of these people getting these awards and going on all these different things and kind of creating buzz when they come around the next year. It typically builds up some more excitement. And I will drop a link in the chat. So I know today we kind of went over um, altogether just kind of a broad framework. But if you're wanting something more specific, maybe on your program specifically, or different features we have, or how we could put your program into reviewer, I dropped a link. You can book a demo with somebody from our team, and they should be able to help you out with any program specific questions you guys might have. If we don't have any more questions, if you have any following this webinar, you can go to that link, meet with our team, ask any specific questions, maybe things we didn't go over in this webinar today, pretty brief. But we appreciate all of you for coming, and yeah, thank you.